So we're going to start with the pita bread. For that I have 1 cup of water. In that I'm going to add 2 and a quarter teaspoon of yeast and 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to let that rest for a bit till it just becomes frothy. I'm going to put that on the side. Over here I have 3 cups of flour. I've used all-purpose flour. You can use maida in India. You can use a little bit of whole wheat if you want in it. Whole wheat will take a little bit more water than 1 cup, but it also makes really tasty pita bread. So I made a well over here, right? Now I'm going to add to that 1 teaspoon of salt, just around the side. So we've been waiting for 10 minutes and now our yeast looks like this. It's nice and frothy, and that I shall pour right in the center. To that, I'm going to add 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just going to eyeball it. If you want to, you can measure it out. And that's it. Now I'm going to gradually start mixing it up, just taking some from the sides and making a dough out of it. So I use a spatula to start my dough because your hands end up getting so sticky, and then you just spend a lot of time to get all the flour off your fingers. So to start off a dough, I always like to use a spatula, and then of course I have my hands that are most necessary for kneading a dough. Look at that, the dough is already coming together pretty well. When it comes to this stage, I'm going to just transfer it to my clean table, which I have wiped down really well. Knead it. It's a pretty wet dough, but that's how I like it for a pita bread. A dry dough will not make those fluffy pita breads which we are looking for. Alright, I'm just going to knead it for about 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, dough has come together really well. I'm not going to knead it for too long. This is a fairly smooth dough. Going back into the bowl, I'm going to cover this bowl. You can use a damp cloth or you can use plastic wrap. I prefer plastic wrap. Make sure the dough is properly covered, because if it remains open, then you will have parts of dough that might just dry up. So there we go, and it's going to sit like this for about an hour at least. Alright, so the pita dough is now ready. It's beautifully risen. It's pretty wet, so I'm going to sprinkle some flour on my surface and then pull this down. Look at that. That's a beautiful smooth surface. Now I'm going to make 4 pitas out of this. To make those 4 portions, I'm simply going to cut my dough into 4. And then just form them into rounds. For this, what I'm doing is, if you see my fingers, with 3 fingers I'm pushing the dough and getting a nice smooth surface on the top, and this is how the bottom looks. So push and roll. You have to tuck your dough inside. That's what we're doing. That's one. Bit more flour over here. So ideally, once you form these balls, you should let them rest for about 5 minutes so they can be easily rolled. The dough always needs to rest a little bit before it can stretch, which you guys already know because you are masters of chapati and parathas and puran polis and all that stuff that I can't make. So just use your dough skills. And then I'm going to use my hands to shape it because I'm used to doing this more than rolling things out. All right, I'd say about 7 inches. There we go. Now to the baking of this pita bread. There we go. All right, this is nice and hot. Turn it down a little bit. So what I'm using here is a wire rack that I use for making papad normally, and I'm sure you guys have one of these at home. In India, it's a very common kitchen tool that we have. Also, you guys have a flame on your gas, so that is again much easier to control the heat. What you want is you want to give it a nice medium to high flame. I'm just trying to MacGyver my way to get the right amount of heat on this, and that way the pita bread will puff up really well. But I don't want it to be too high so that it burns the base and it doesn't get cooked through. So I'm going to make sure that I adjust the heat. And this is our pita bread, all ready to go with some olive oil. And these are just 4 pita breads. You can see how much height they have on them. They're puffed up really well. We're going to make some pickle things. In that I have turnips that I'm going to pickle. I have some green chilies, but these are the non-spicy green chilies. They have a wonderful flavor and they are perfect when they are pickled. So to start off, I want to use a cup of vinegar, 1.5 tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and then just let it boil. I have this turnip over here. Turnips are very classic in this kind of food, and they taste absolutely amazing. The way we need to cut them is really easy. Red beet gives such a beautiful color to those turnips. So our pickling liquid is almost ready. It's already come to a boil. Perfect. I'm going to turn it off. Meanwhile, here I have these large chilies. I'm just going to give them a slit. I don't want to take the seeds out. I don't want to cut them through. This liquid goes right into this and this. So now for this we have to make sure that they are well dipped inside. For that I'm just going to use this clean bowl that I have just to put some weight on it so they stay submerged under the pickling liquid. So now I'm going to start with this garlic sauce It's called a Toum sauce, Toum, and it is absolutely my favorite sauce. So for that, I have a few garlic cloves. I'll give you the recipe in the notes. Salt to taste, ice water. I'm going to start with about 4 teaspoons. Lemon juice. I'm going to squeeze half a lemon in there. Blend it up before I add my oil to it. So this works best when you have a mixer where you can gradually add your oil. Also, the oil has to go in very gradually. That's why it's going to take me about 5 minutes to make this. It might take you a couple minutes if you have a good mixer where you can just pour the oil from top. So if you add too much oil at once, your sauce will split. Don't get impatient. You've come a long way now to mess this up. Oh, look at that. It's already coming together really well. You can feel a slight jiggle in there. Almost like a mayonnaise consistency. Oh yeah, that's it. Look at that. It's got a nice jiggle to it. That's it. Alright, so now we're going to start with the hummus. I'm going to make a roasted garlic hummus. For that, I'm going to heat up some oil. I don't want a lot of oil because whatever oil is in here is going to go inside the hummus and you don't need a lot of oil for that. So what I'm going to do is I've just started my gas and it's going to cook the garlic and soften it and caramelize it, and then we'll use it for our hummus. Here I have my chickpeas, salt, tahini, lemon and roasted garlic. So here in this I'm going to add my chickpeas, the roasted garlic with the oil in it, some salt. I can adjust the salt later anyways, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it. This is tahini. It's a sesame paste, some lemon juice, last but not the least, some cumin powder. There we go. And we will need to add some water to it. So here's the hummus. This is the consistency. It'll keep soaking up the moisture. I'm going to add a little bit more salt because I felt like it needed some. Olive oil. If you have pomegranate seeds, you can put some pomegranate seeds on it. Looks really nice. This is again some cumin powder. And here I have some paprika. I like a little bit of spice to my hummus. Just a dash, not a lot. There we go. And that's our hummus. Let's move on to the falafel recipe. For that, I'm using this pan here to roast my spices. In this, I have sesame seeds, 2 teaspoons. I have cumin seeds, 2 teaspoons, and 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. And then you can also add, or you should add actually, coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons. But since I don't have the seeds, I'm just going to use this coriander powder from before. These are really well roasted now. And for that, I'm going to use one of my favorite kitchen tools. That is Dadi Ka Kalbatta. It's a family treasure. Look at this thing. It's like, I don't know how old this is, but it looks pretty old. And my mom graciously gave it to me. So for the rest of the part of the falafel, I have these chickpeas. These are about, I said 3/4 of a cup chickpeas that I soaked overnight. And then we have to grind these up. Alright, so here we have the chickpeas that I have blended. They're still slightly coarse. It's not a very fine grind that I did on them. Now what I'm doing here is, to my mixer I've added coriander. You can add parsley and coriander. Authentically you use both the herbs. Some garlic. So I'm adding some oil to it. This is just regular oil that we have at home. Doesn't have to be olive oil. Alright, there we go. That is our coriander and garlic with a little bit of oil. Alright, so this is the spice mix. I'm just going to add all of it to taste. Put a little bit of lemon juice in it and mix this up. So now it's time to fry the falafel. Make sure that your pan is well heated. What I'm doing here is just forming these into little tikki. You can do multiple shapes. If you're going to deep fry it, then you can do like a quenelle. But since I'm going to shallow fry it, I think making a tikki is the best option. So we have to make sure that we let it cook for a bit. Don't play around with it too much. So it looks like it has a nice crust on the bottom now. I'm just going to flip all of these. Oh yeah, I'm going to reduce the flame a little bit. Make sure the flame is not too high because you still haven't cooked your chickpeas. So you have to make sure that it gets enough time to cook. Normally normally the falafel are deep fried, but here since we are shallow frying, it will take a bit more time. There's some veggies in a shawarma seasoning. Normally you can do, normally people do meats, but since I'm doing a veggie friendly menu, I'm using sweet potato. This orange sweet potato. In India you can find your regular white sweet potato, ratala, which is perfect for this. And I'm also going to use eggplant. Do it in the oven, or you can just do these on a pan. Some salt and the shawarma spice, and dare not forget the garlic. Just going to marinate all this. I have my pan over here, which is all ready to go. This again I'm going to cook on a medium flame. And now the eggplant. Mind you, the eggplant soaks up a lot of oil if you let it sit like that. So make sure as soon as you put the oil in there, you just tap it around and make sure that it just coats up the whole slice of eggplant. Otherwise you'll just have like patches of oil. Now since there was already some garlic on my tray, I didn't put any more garlic. Here is the eggplant that we marinated.